Ronda, please. I know you said you typically like to map out the first exchange, and that's the only real, solid game plan that you do. She kind of set the tone. What was your plan? How did you? What were you planning to do once you got in there?
Well, I'm not going to give that away because I might want to use that again. But I thought that because she'd been hearing so much about being a slow starter during the media buildup, I thought that it was very possible that she'd try to do the exact opposite of that. And I studied my own footage a lot and thought that nobody's come at me right away before. And so one of the possibilities I was thinking could come up was that she would come at me straight away. And I didn't plan exactly how it went down, but I was expecting that it could happen.
And the transition that you had in the finishing move, obviously, it was extremely impressive. Is that a sequence that you've drilled or practiced or trained for? Is that something you just kind of make up on the fly?
No, I made that up on the fly, to be honest. But it was kind of funny. We were going towards the ground, and I kind of reverted back into judo mode and was thinking, "Don't touch your back. It's a point." Something like that's like where the acrobatic, thing came from. Was thinking about not touching your back in judo, and then. Also in judo, you have sometimes only a second transition into the ground, and so all of that, I would say, just was instincts and reactions from a decade and a half doing judo.
You told us earlier in the week that you had a pretty good idea, if things went right, when you'd be fighting again. Is there anything that you can share, or that Dana could chime in? Any news on that front?
We had a deal that she was going to go do a movie after this fight, so. When she's done with her movie, we'll talk.
Do you have an idea when that might be?
I think we're going to talk first.
Ronda, when was your hip turned to the right when you had the armbar? Was that where the pressure came from? Because that was a little different. Like you kind of twisted your hip to the right. Is that where the pressure was put on? And was that the armbar?
Yeah, it wasn't straight armbar. It was down to the side. I was practicing doing it from behind the arm. People usually hug it, and I was practicing trying to tuck it behind my armpit, but from an entirely different angle, like sitting up. And so when I ended up in that position, face down, for some reason, because I'd been training that so much, I'd never done that armbar from that position before. I'd never practiced that once. So we thought of another one.
What did you say to Kat afterwards? She was down, and I could tell you were pretty devastated after the way that ended. You actually came over to her and said something to her. What did you say?
I said that we should do this again, and I think she definitely deserves another shot. And sometimes fights just go down like that. I'm lucky to have a lot of experience in judo, and there were times that I walked out and I just got dumped on my head right away, and I just wasn't myself that day. And it didn't mean that I didn't deserve to be in that fight or that I couldn't be the other person. It was just that for some reason I wasn't there, and I understand that feeling, and I know that what Kat is capable of, and I would definitely like to see more of what she's capable of.
And then, Ronda, if you could speak about it, because it seems like, with Chris fighting one day in front of you, you were asked about her a lot, and of course also you were asked a lot about Kat, but is that something that you're almost sick of, that there's sort of this cyborg thing hovering over, and obviously you had a lot of respect for the opponent that you were fighting on Saturday, so would you almost like to get that fight out of the way just so that it's not hanging over any of your fights anymore?
Well, I really don't feel like anything's hanging over this fight tonight. I think that we took a women's main event and co-main event and sold out the Staples Center. There's nothing hanging over this. I'm very proud of what I did tonight, and people ask me the same questions repeatedly all the time, So,
And let me say this. I'm going to say it. She'll never say it. I was waiting to see if she would say it in public. She won't say it in public. I'll say it. She asks me all the time. She's like, I'll fight her whenever she makes 130. She's got to make the weight. She will fight her in a minute if she makes 135 pounds. She wants to fight her. She's not saying it, but I'll tell you, I'll say it. She wants to fight her. You know what I mean? And like you said, it's not on Ronda. Ronda's 135 pounds. She's the world champion. She's breaking all these records. And she just said it. Staples Center, she's going all these places. Cyborg has to make the weight. Make 135 pounds, and this fight will happen.